Welcome back, everybody, to the second part of our 100th episode of Court of Swords. So, a scrying spell has been cast. Ramus has prepared his ritual accoutrement. What does it look like when you cast the spell? Like, is there like a fire across the surface of the bowl, or do you just stare into it? Like...
There's like a spark that goes from their mind to the fingers and then touches the bowl, and like a spark just sort of ripples and it changes into an image of the place.
Okay, so we can see a clear image of the bowl, and this is definitely one of those, like, it starts off over Ramus's shoulder, and then the camera comes down in tight towards the image rippling on the bowl, and then crossfades to an actual, like, drone shot of the location. So the Monastery of the Sun, and for both of you, and I assume everyone is gathered around to look now, right? Like, now that the spell has been cast.
Yeah, we hear it go off and start going back down.
Yeah, so you would see a large human temple complex. You would probably recognize it as being a temple for the sun. You see the stern face of the sun with the radiating lines on some of the imagery. But it's a human religious organization. It is a place where humans go to worship their gods. Right? That would be what you see. For you, it's architecture that is familiar both as a person who has lived in the Court of Swords for part of their life, right? You've seen temples to the sun before. The sun is a very popular member of the Arcana. But you recognize the sort of like trickle-down effect of the architecture of heaven reflected in this place.
Right.
Like, it's clearly, you're seeing the... It's like you're Plato's cave, and this is the shadow, but you've seen the real thing. You've seen the thing that
this is based off of, right?
So this is at some point, probably this would have been very impressive, right? Massive temple complex. It took, years and years and probably lives to build, right?
Yeah.
You also see something that was like probably built in majority by slaves. But it's a pale reflection compared to the glory that you've seen of statues and walls and buildings carved out of pure magic.
Might as well be a bundle of sticks just
right? So
together.
For this moment, for you, it's like seeing this kind of futility of human emulation of the gods, right? It's like they'll never make something as beautiful as heaven, but they're sure trying.
Yeah.
This place has fallen into some disrepair. But for the two of you, for Ramus and for Yota Zo, you can feel Yota more clearly because Ramus, you're numb to some of this stuff, but a normal person seeing this, you feel your heart in your throat. Right? You feel a sense of like that feeling of when you're walking down a flight of stairs in the dark and you think there's one more stair, and you like there's that jolt of like fear, and it washes over you because the Monastery of the Sun. It would be one thing if it was just in ruins, but it's occupied. So it's clear that this place has undergone a terrible siege. The outer wall is cracked and broken in places. The sacred reflecting pools are murky with mud. There are vines growing up over places where a gardener or a monk or someone would have cut them back to keep this beautiful wall from being claimed. The central sanctum appears to have been more or less spared the structural damage, but some of the outer buildings are damaged as well. And amongst this beautiful temple, because it's sitting out in the center of like a lake, basically. Normally, the lake at this time of year would have lotus like blossoms floating in it. The whole thing would be quite beautiful. But the lake has gone stagnant, and the temple is sitting out in this kind of like swamp now. And it's not a ruin because you see moving amongst it figures. You see humans and dwarves mostly. Clad in what look like military uniforms. They're wearing black. They have some of them are armored, and amongst them you see like peasants. You see prisoners, right? People who are chained together, being led from one place to another. Yeah, probably. Yeah, you might assume that. You might assume that they're slaves. You can see the old orphanage and the monks' dormitories. You can see the laundry and the bathhouse. The only place in this whole area that looks like it hasn't been touched is the Tower of the Sun. There's this like observatory, basically because there's the sort of symbolism of the towers of the sun is that like you want to have a place in the temple where you can go. It's like a solarium at the top where the most sun reaches it. So this one would stretch up above the surface of the jungle, and that place looks like it hasn't been touched, defaced, repurposed or anything like that. And there are people moving all around. Like some of you can see them working. Like there are people working to rebuild the wall. There are people like cutting away at the vines. But none of them are dressed like monks of the sun. You see none of the priests or nuns that you would expect to see there. Instead, it looks like it's been made into a military camp. And you don't see anywhere the like the flag of the Court of Swords. In fact, they're flying there's no heraldry to indicate who has taken over this place.
That's one of the things I wanted to ask was, it looks like this place is being fortified.
Yeah, it's being rebuilt. It looks like a fortress or a castle or whatever that was taken over, and the people who used to live there lost the fight, and now the new occupants have moved in.
Okay, so it does. I'm wondering if it looks desperate, like this is a last stand kind of.
Oh no, this is like cleaning up. They're rebuilding and they're fixing the wall, and they're throwing out all the bodies. Though you can't see. There's no like mass grave. There's no like none of that. Yeah.
None of my kind.
Not that you can see, no.
Okay.
But this is like, again, just from a high viewpoint,
Sure,
right? We
sure,
get the big exterior shots.
Any of my kind?
Yeah, there'd be orcs.
Okay.
Yep. So that's what you see.
Are
While
they
Ramus was casting the spell, and we'll get back to what you guys were doing, but I wanted to start on that shot. So, who's the first to speak when we see this site? What's everybody's reaction? Like, feel
Not
free
me.
to give me some.
I'm drunk. A little bit.
You could be more drunk, like if you want to drink more.
Yeah. I don't think you'd go that far.
I look to Zaid.
Zaida. Yeah.
Zaida, yeah.
I think that's
Zaid Masani?
I wrote it down. Zaida Al Shaim.
Yeah, Zaida.
I look to Zaida, and I go. They look like they had taken over. Who are they?
Servants of a new power, though not so new. There's rumors about where he came from, who he is. There's a man, military, army. He leads from the Riverland. We're north of his base of power, but he sent one of his lieutenants here with his army, and you see the aftermath. The monks, they held out a long time, 6, maybe 7 months. But this new power has magic, as I told you, dark magic, the kind of magic that can conjure a plague, that can kill with virulence instead of arrows or stones. And so when the monks protected the temple from those, this lieutenant, she's some kind of sorceress, I think. She poisoned them. All of them. I haven't seen a monk or a nun or so much as an acolyte from the temple in almost a year.
How did you avoid being captured or killed?
I'm not the enemy. I'm not from here. She's about to say something, then she doesn't. She thinks better of it. I've been studying this region, particularly this new leader, from a purely religious perspective. The temple, it's a place of significance if you're fighting a religious war, and I believe that that's what this is about. A conflict of ideology, of religion.
You don't strike me as someone who is overly pious or religious.
Oh, no. I mean, an entomologist is not an insect. I study religion.
Right. To what end?
Knowledge.
Are you planning on writing books and that sort of thing?
Not to put too fine a point on it, but a wizard doesn't learn things just to learn them. They're secrets.
Oh, yes, right.
The world has rules. The better you understand them, the more you can do.
Tell me more about this man that's leading. Do you know anything about him?
Make an insight check.
Okay.
Or maybe you're talking, so you make an insight check. Whoever's paying attention to her while she's talking to Yodazo.
Okay.
You're in the middle of this conversation, but everybody else is kind of like
Sure. Right.
scoping it out.
Disadvantage.
Okay.
Your disadvantage?
Yeah.
Yep.
Whoa, not bad though.
So, hold on. It is Still 25.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, there was something she was gonna say, and then she's holding back. She's not telling you everything because she doesn't know how you're gonna react, and she's like trying to get a read on you, but she doesn't seem to feel threatened. So you say this man, and she says,
Okay, this is something I just want you to know this
Yeah.
that I need reminding of that I just since he rolled a disadvantage. I still have one level of exhaustion, so I'm rolling.
"That's right."
I have to roll. I missed a
Disadvantage
bunch
on
of
your
ability
disadvantage
rolls.
on your skills. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Okay, we'll remember that.
Ability checks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot you're still exhausted.
Yep.
Okay, so you say, "Tell me about this," and then she says, "Well, I'm not really interested in living figures. I mean, he'll come and go. They all do. Well, unless, but he's as much myth as he is fact. Some say he's a demon vomited forth from the void. Others, just a man who pretends to be one. They didn't take him seriously at first. Another bandit lord, a brigand, someone interrupting the tax flow. But then, well, you see the results.
Do we know his purpose? What he intends to do?
I'm not a political scientist. I don't care much. Human empires rise and fall.
Well, yes. But you saw what I saw, yes. You saw... It didn't look like he was conscripting the helps of demons or anything. They looked all like regular beings. So it looks like someone just wanted to overthrow the court and supplant themselves.
She looks at Ramus, and then she says, there are some who think that desire would qualify you as a demon. I mean, these are words that we throw around to alienate the people who disagree with us, who worship the wrong entities, or worship the entities we do, but in the wrong way. I'm interested in why he wanted to take over this particular location, and why he sent the person that he did, this lieutenant of his.
Do you know any names?
No. I need to speak to someone. We've tried, and she looks at Peanut. Reconnaissance, but she's tricky. A spellcaster, to be sure.
Human?
She shrugs. I haven't seen the woman.
I get this feeling you're holding back something, that you know more than you're letting on.
She looks at you and she says, "No, I've told you everything." Okay, I got a 5. So, no, I mean, you already got your insight,
Okay.
right? So, no. She's
Yeah.
like, "No, I've told you everything."
You know, children lie better than you.
She scowls and she says, "What would I have to lie to you about?"
I don't know, but I think you're afraid of how we'll react. We don't blame you. You're just an observer.
She nods and she says, "Well, I've made some diplomatic efforts. I've been trying to arrange a meeting with this woman, this lieutenant, but to no avail. There are people around here who think even talking to such people is a crime."
There are a lot of rules that we follow, and we don't ever ask why. We just accept it. I don't blame you for wanting to try to find out more. Maybe if the monastery had asked more questions, they wouldn't be where they are now.
You didn't see the siege. This is a quest of deep personal hatred. The man that sent those soldiers to attack that monastery, it gave them no quarter. It was fascinating, really, but not something I hope to see again.
Does this leader have a name that floats around amongst the people?
She shrugs and she says he has. It depends. Everyone thinks of him in a different way. To some, he's a bandit hero. To others, a king of bones and blood. There's some rumors that he's not even alive himself.
So he uses necromancy and spells and magic.
She shrugs. I've never seen it myself, but
Perhaps you could tell me what this is. And I hand her the bottle that was the guy at the river was holding.
Okay. I'm gonna roll an Arcana check to see if she recognizes it.
Which bottle?
Yeah, which?
The
I don't
guy was
even
about to
remember.
throw a bottle, remember?
The
But you stopped him.
green-
Oh yeah.
Stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, from when we
All right.
first
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, this
episode
is like
1 of us.
her
I
best
don't
skill.
even-
She's
I
got a
don't even
plus.
remember
She's
that.
got plus 13.
You weren't here for that.
I got a
episode.
1.
Oh, there
Oh
you go.
my.
Wow.
So
Okay.
she gets a 1. So she looks at it and she puts her hand out and she's like, "May I see it? Where did you get this?" She takes it and holds it up.
There was some creature at the border that was trying to throw this at the crowd.
She like holds it back like, ugh. So it's a weapon of some kind.
Possibly. We don't know.
If you leave it with me, I can study it. She gestures at her equipment.
We don't have need of it. If you can tell us what it is, might help.
I can try. And she puts it down on her table with like her other stuff. So what will you do? Are you going to the monastery? And if so, why? To what end? There are dozens of soldiers.
Well,
What do the soldiers, or who are the soldiers fighting?
The court, as best I can tell. Any time that they ever come in contact with soldiers, there's a skirmish, and they sack the temple. They would have gone after the Temple of the Moon, too, but the flood some years back, not much to dig for there.
So you're telling me that someone quietly built up an entire army of a size that could challenge the court itself, and no one knows, and you don't know his name.
That's part of his power, I think. Hard to send assassins after a man whose face you don't know.
That's very true.
and these fools at the monastery would never, ever suspect that they would ever come under attack. They're too pompous and pious and too good for that. No one would dare attack the Temple of the Sun.
Well, I mean, can you blame them? It's something that's never happened. And for years and years and years, when something never happens, you stop being prepared for that thing to happen. Are they... I didn't see any sort of flags or symbols or anything. Do they go... How do they know someone's with them or not?
That's the thing. They travel village to village and say, join us or die, and then join us. It's not hard. Everyone is either on their side or dies.
But the court still has a stronghold, yes?
In the north,
Okay.
some of the port cities in the south still stand. I have been out of touch for some time, and I'm not. She's like, I'm not from here. I come from the Court of Wands. I don't know this place well, but I knew something was going on here in the Midlands, and I was right.
Is the woman, the lieutenant, the only thing you're concerned with, or you seem to have blocked off quite a bit of space for yourself? There must be something in this particular location that you're looking for.
She says, I've been taking readings, ambient magical energy, changes to the local flora and fauna. I'm not a naturist. She shrugs and says, I'm mostly interested in the religious practices of the people of this region. And for me, that means this new rising power. And if, as you say, this necromancer king is a servant of the Mara, we haven't seen an army like this in recorded history. It's completely unprecedented. An entire army of people, villagers, soldiers, warriors, living and dead, magical power we haven't seen in opposition to the courts in ever, and the other courts simply are ignoring it, which makes me wonder if there's Mara influence there as well. And then if so, will then the whole thing is just going to come apart terribly.
There's that word again, though. You have no hesitation saying the names of the demon.
That's the thing. There was Mara influence at the Court of Wands, at least. In high places, I was there.
She shrugs as if you were like, yeah, there was bad weather. And she says, that's how power works. People want it, they don't have it, and then something offers it to them. Or they have it and they're afraid to lose it, and something says they can help them keep it.
Do we even know her name? Have we asked? Anyone asked her?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zaida.
Zaida. Okay.
Yep.
So you are taking no sides in this. You are just a witness, so to speak.
One must remain neutral so that one can observe without bias.
Very well. What made you want to allow us in, so to speak?
You seemed interesting, safe enough. Besides, I was certain that if there was a problem that I could take care of it.
We'll need allies. Forgotten allies in these jungles. In all your studies, have you found any remnants of those that worship fire?
Primordial cults? Of course. There are some in the hills. The Dwarven ruins. Not really my thing. Pre-heaven religion. Not my area of expertise.
I've been like cocked back against the desk or something, and
Yeah.
I lean forward and put both arms in. These hills are which direction?
West of here. I mean, I don't know specifically where they are. I can't point you at a stronghold of fire worshippers. But I mean, everyone's heard rumors.
We have our direction.
I want it to burn. Every inch of it.
The temple.
Everything that lives and unlives there needs to burn.
What of the royals, the king, the queen? Any word about them?
I was hoping you could tell me something about that. And what of the Court of Wands? Any news?
I have none.
I can't wait to finish my work and return there. I miss the city so.
Well,
The awkward, like,
I think when she says that,
we
Berg's
we
been
look
kind
at
of
each other, and I'm like,
yeah.
I can't say
Yeah,
anything.
you don't know.
I'm not there. Yeah.
Dan's
Yeah.
face is perfect. This kind of just like, oh, God.
Yeah.
yeah.
Berg, like when she says that, Berg kind of takes another drink, like
Yeah,
a
like
little slight one. Like looks at like Ramus.
And that was pre-50, so I kind of lost on that.
I mean, you like Zeke, you were there. She's talking about the city of brass,
Yeah, your
right?
character wasn't there.
Oh, the city of Brass was in the Court of Wands.
She's talking.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the capital.
Yeah.
of
She's
the
like, I
Court of
can't wait
Wands.
to go back to the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're
Yoko
just
wasn't
like,
there, though.
'Cause I know this isn't the first thing that this particular like group of like players that
She
have
has-
like destroyed a court.
She has no idea that she's literally with the people who destroyed the
She
fuck
has
out of
no
that
I
city.
totally forgot that the city of Brass in the
Yep.
Court of Wands. Yeah.
Yep, doesn't exist anymore.
So she says that, and then she kind of shakes her head and she says, but nostalgia has no purpose. I have to finish my work here. Return home with something to show for it.
What you said? Return home with something to show for it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay.
Berg like was gonna go to speak.
Yeah.
A lot better of it.
So she says, well, I mean, whatever you're doing, you're welcome to stay here for tonight at least. It'll be dark soon, and you don't want to be out in the jungle then. You heard the sounds?
Yes. What is that? We did not investigate for obvious reasons, I think.
I've only seen it once, and it was dark. Through Peanut's eyes, I don't know who made it or why it's out there, but it's enormous, a giant. It seems to be guarding or patrolling the area. It's dead, but it's moving around. I mean, I've seen zombies here and there, the animated dead, shambling about, but never a creature of this size. It's terrific and terrible. And if you're going back out in the jungle, you need to know to stay away from it.
Are you saying it's like a zombie but bigger, or is it something non...
The giants,
That
I
you
just interrupted him. It's like the giants died decades, centuries ago. How could one walk?
She shrugs and she says, "I don't know. Maybe they dug one up."
Yota, I interrupted, sorry.
No, you seem more knowledgeable about that. It's an actual giant that is been brought back.
I didn't see it close up enough, but Peanut's very sensitive to the dead, and and you can see she's got this like attitude of like I would love to see it, like I want to, but I'm scared and I don't want to go anywhere near it. But like
Sure.
it seems so fucking cool,
Yeah.
But it'll crush me.
It'd be like a paleontologist getting a chance to look at a
See an
T-Rex.
Yeah,
actual-
I'd be like,
yeah.
wow, oh boy.
Yep.
Yeah. So but she says, but you're safe here for now. Though if you leave, finding your way back will be near impossible.
Way back where?
Here, I mean,
Oh.
the camp is designed to hide and protect me. So, but for the time being, if you want to make your plans or decide, I don't have anywhere to house you, but the grounds are open. The shield will protect you from the rain if it comes.
Can you create one of these servants magically for us? Compensation will be discussed, of course.
She shakes her head and she says, no, it's he's just a part of me, as my hand, and when she says hand, she looks at her like a missing finger, as my hand would be, or my heart. The magic is very intimate. I'm sorry, no.
I'm unschooled in this. I apologize if that was offensive.
She shakes her head. No.
And can I do some sort of roll to see why she's missing a finger? Like if that's like a punishment for a crime or something, or
You could ask.
just ask her. Okay. So I would. There's nothing I would knowledgeably.
You make a history
She
check.
tried to steal bread, so
You make
cut
a
her
history
finger
check if you want.
off. Okay. Let's do that. Oh, with the disadvantage.
Yeah, with
Did I get one of
disadvantage.
your blueies?
I was going to
Or
give you
that one?
disadvantage for lack of familiarity with her culture, but you already have disadvantage, so it doesn't stack.
Double disadvantage for
You're
this.
exhausted.
So, what's the skull?
16. Oh, that's a 20.
What's on
Okay.
the opposite side of it? A 1?
It's a 1, yeah, on the opposite
Okay,
side.
so you got a 20?
So,
Nice.
I got a 16.
16
disadvantage
But 16 is still pretty
with
good.
history is...
Minus
so,
one.
19 total.
Okay.
Even with disadvantage?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, theft, like, it's a hand, to be a whole hand, right? Like,
Sure.
It looks like the cut is too clean to be an accident. Like, she looks like she had it amputated.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you don't strike me as a thief. Not that, I mean, let me finish that. Your finger is missing. It doesn't look like it was raggedly cut off or chewed off, bit by an animal. It looks possibly ritualistic. I'm just curious.
She looks over the, like, little kitchen area that she's got, like, set up, and there's, like, a knife, like, sitting on
And
the...
I look at her and
She just
go,
looks at it,
ah,
and she says, all power has a price.
I understand.
And when she says that, Peanut is, like rubbing his head on her leg, like, apologetically almost.
You said when the lieutenant, whatever her name is, came through here, that she was unmerciful and poisoned everybody. Is that correct? Do you know what sort of method she used? What sort of poison she used
She
to
looks.
just to spread it, or
She looks at Ramus because he was the one that said this, and she just says, "Necromancy." It was as if a black fog had rolled in from some other place, and crawled through the gates and over the walls.
so it wasn't like a physical poison. It was a poison made of magic.
She shrugs and says, I didn't recognize the spell. I didn't see her cast it, but its effects were clear and very physical. It seems safe enough now. They've occupied the temple, so I imagine unless they've all got some kind of magical protection, which would be very expensive, and I don't think this bandit lord has that. You should be safe if you go in there. I mean, aside from all of the armed men and the fact that this woman refuses to give me an appointment, and I can't imagine why she would just let you walk in. But anyway, I don't think that the environment is dangerous anymore, is what I'm trying to say.
How many men, roughly?
100? It's a big temple, and they're rebuilding. It's my suspicion that they're going to build up around the temple and then breach the sanctum. The tower that you saw, the solarium. Well, I don't. You know this already. So she turns to Mahari and she says, "That structure, it's used to focus the light of the sun. They use it for cremation and ritual. It's very powerful, but it's the most sacred part of the temple and may retain some kind of consecrated protection. It might be holding them back, but if they can desecrate the rest of the temple, then certainly it'll be possible for them to break in there."
Berg looks at Ramus like she says like 100 or something. Or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's like kind of like, you still want to do this?
Yeah, if I catch that look, surely we're not. I would, but surely we're not going to fight them. That is not something easily achievable.
No. Not by ourselves, at least. We need to find the worshippers in the hills that she told us about.
You want us to go into the mountains?
And find the people there.
Yes.
That's one thing they would never suspect, is old gods coming to interfere with their plans.
What would be a way to motivate them to follow us? Maybe that we have the second coming of the night.
Not much
Of
is known about them on
sorts.
purpose because their existence is illegal. All we have is rumor and speculation. We'd have to actually meet them to see what's real and what was made up about them. Stories about them being evil and kidnapping children for their rituals. Who knows what's real and what's not? When it's, you're not allowed to be worshiping them and the old gods in the kingdom.
I have my own reasons for meeting with the cult.
Oh, yes. I'm aware of those. So, I say we rest here, and over dinner we discuss what we intend to do or not do.
You say the priests in the temple, they were poisoned.
The ones that didn't die in the siege, yes. There were months of skirmishes, and then the siege, and then she showed up to break it. So some of them died from the pestilence, yes.
Ramus, if you really want to, you could use their own tactic against them. Try to poison them. Fire with fire, as it were. Just a thought.
There are many things that we could do. They think they're safe, and we have the elements of surprise right now.
Agreed.
These are people that don't deserve respect after what they just did.
This is very strange, Ramus. See you so emotional. This is the most I've ever seen you get this way.
I've never cared much for people. But there were some in that temple that truly just wanted to do good in the world and would never harm a soul. And now they're dead, or in chains, or even worse, serving against their will in death.
What is your connection there? Is that where you were raised and that sort of thing?
Yes. As you would remember, the orphanage on the campus.
Yes.
Children there are raised under Nana. She seemed nice to everyone else, but to us she was very strict. But we were raised under her. But there were other people there. The librarian was my closest friend.
I remember taking day trips there with my father, and he would show me these places to, I think, teach me lessons about wealth and what it affords you and the like, how to appreciate what you have or something was the lesson. And I remember disregarding it at the time, but I do remember the place, and I remember that we had some sort of monetary relationship with it, or definitely the son.
Your parents were very proud of when the orphanage was built and how it was like, we're going to take all these poor, sad human villagers that have no family and we're going to like take care of them. And like, if there were cameras at the time, it'd be like your dad with like, look at all these orphans. that
Yeah,
we paid,
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It was a very positive move.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Well, we can save that for later. I say now we take our rest, get our strength back,
We must plan.
and while we eat, we plan. And Zaida, I appreciate all that you've done for us and giving us safe haven for the time being. And I hope it's not something that will be considered an offense, but the discussions we are about to have are going to be between us. Is that going to be agreeable for you?
And she just shrugs and she says, it's fine.
I thought so. I wanted to make sure, though.
And she gestures kind of haphazardly at the outside and says, anywhere you can find open ground, feel free to make a camp. Just don't touch anything. There's some sensitive equipment out there.
Do you happen to have a map of this area? Charts, anything?
I'm not much of a cartographer. I kind of arrived and set up camp, and I mean, I know the vicinity, everything between here and the temple.
If you could mark that down for us, that would be a huge boon.
Of course.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, so you guys take your leave. She's gonna start looking in. She'll make kind of like a map of the area for you, and she'll start looking at your bottle of weird stuff, and yeah, you guys have some time to like walk around and find a place. Now the two of you searched her like, or searched, but like kind of eyeballed her stuff. What were you looking for?
Keyword wise, MX, Embers of MX, and Giants.
Okay. Yeah, most of her stuff is studies of the Arcana, and like practical application of like clerical magic, and like worship patterns.
Yeah.
Nothing about those things. Like she said, she just isn't interested.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, that's like I'm a professor of Western philosophy, and you're talking to me about Buddhism. Like it's cool, but I don't have any interest in that.
Right.
It's not my area of expertise. But yeah, and then you were looking at her like ingredients and stuff. Yeah. Her
Alchemical stuff.
yeah, no,
for
it's
sure.
it's a lab basically. And she has very little of anything that would require like a great deal of processing to make because she's been out here on her own. But she does seem to have some skill at creating like alternatives using natural materials, and lots of it is very like dangerous.
Okay.
But she seems to know how to handle it, right? She keeps all the stuff that's going to explode away from each other.
Sure.
But like lots of like things for distilling and dissolving, like acids and what have you. Things that if you were to inhale their vapors, you might die. Like she's got lots of dangerous shit in here, but she also lives by herself. So
Okay. Cool.
yeah. All right.
All right.
Berg would go outside and start making, like, get up kind of slowly. Maybe, like, slips his elbow real quick. And then puts the bottle down, goes ahead outside.
Does she stay in the hut when we all start to leave?
Yeah, she's going to stay in her house and just like,
Okay.
get to work on stuff.
As we're like exiting, I don't know who stays in the room, who's not in there. When I saw him pass off the bottle, I'd tell her specifically, like, someone meant to harm Ramus, us, whoever, with that. Be very careful. It is not to be treated lightly.
I will. I minored in alchemy. It'll be fine.
This.
Cut.
yeah. Oh, you rolled a 1. Sorry.
Yeah.
The shack just explodes.
Yeah. And then, if the creature's nearby, are you able to let others see through that creature's eye? Is that a possibility?
She shakes her head. No. Not without magic that I don't have.
All right. We'll let you know if we have any more questions. Thank you once again.
Yeah. She nods and kind of watches you go, and then you walk outside.
Yeah. I think we get like 10 steps, and I'm going to see that giant one way or the other. So.
Tell me about giants. You seem to know something.
What would you like to know, Ramus Krill?
They're just fairy tales. What do you know of them? Were they real, apparently? 'Cause there's one walking around.
I am here because they existed. They are my ancestors. I have seen them and interacted with them, and I suppose rituals would be what makes sense to you.
Do you fight them or fight alongside them?
Alongside. But this creature does not sound like it is one that would fight alongside.
So for you guys, like everybody would kind of like have some understanding or knowledge about like the sort of basic stuff, like a giant. Most people would think of like a hill giant or an ogre, right? Like a big, dumb, like cavemen, basically, that like live in the tallest mountains and like stay away from humans and like, you know, eat babies and grind your bones to make bread. And they live in the mountains and stay out of the mountains because that's where the giants live. When you think of a giant, it's like, loincloth made out of a dead animal and like big club, and they're stupid. But some people think that they are, like, those particular big dumb giants are like what has happened to an elder like species from a long time ago that has just gotten like more and more diluted and more like inbred. And so usually calling someone like a giant is like an insult, right? Or like drawing my says like someone who's like fallen a long way or like had sex with their family. Like it's an insult to call someone like son of a giant because it's like your parents are sister and brother. So it's that would be like something that people would know about like a giants, and it's an insult. And it's also for you, you know that it's like your people
They're
are
an
your people are alienated for that reason.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are like, don't go into the, you know, if you see a tall man in the mountains, they'll
Yeah.
probably try to eat you. Like,
Right. So yeah, you can continue. Question.
Are these natural beings or beings of magic? Could you bring one back if we needed one?
That is a tall order to ask.
We
I
have
hear
a
Yota
tall-
laugh
we have a-
at the tall order.
We have a tall problem.
mm-hmm.
That was a joke, I suppose. Yes. This giant and the giants I know are the giants that have shaped the mountains with their hands, that have created the biggest structures you could ever imagine. If this thing exists in the forest, it is what my kind would consider an abomination of what was once a proud, pure race. It's been intermixed with who knows what. With that said, I'm not sure. if it is, as she thinks, a zombie or controlled through necromancy, I would wish to just kill it.
I think I've seen one alive.
I just kind of look blankly. You would remember.
Oh, I remember.
Do you wish to divulge more information on this?
Boy, do I remember.
The city of brass is gone because of one of them. If it was a giant.
I know Maro Bhavati.
Yeah. Mara Bhavati is a primordial.
Yeah, so Maru Bhavati was an ally of the giants. But he was not a giant himself. He was a great, some would say worm, some would say beast. It does not matter. Are you saying he is awoken?
He's back. And
This is
he
good.
destroyed everything in his path.
Have I heard this name?
I mean, I think you were in the civilized world long enough that you know that something terrible happened and that the city of Brass was destroyed. And most people know that it was destroyed by some kind of terrible thing, but the reports are
He still doesn't know we did
no,
that,
nobody
right?
knows you did that. Yeah, that has been buried with the rubble of the city. Maybe there are servants of the tower who remember.
Where do your people believe the giants went?
That is something we have connected with them through these rituals, but we believe them to just have gone extinct or somewhere deep within the mountains. It's one of the reasons why I wish to speak with the Embers of Emix and potentially the Fire God himself to see if he knows. These creatures would be, rather, my ancestors would be a starting point.
You know, the dwarves in the mountains used to thrive there, but they all vanished from their places a long time ago. I wonder if there's some connection. We're going to the mountains where this cult is. Perhaps we should poke around inside.
It's not a bad idea.
Do your
What,
people... you said rituals. Sorry. You said rituals. Can you talk to them or interact with them?
If we had a shaman of the tribe, yes, but I am not equipped with the physical and intelligence to.
Sorry, Yoda, you were saying something?
I'm just trying to get an idea of what a overall plan is.
Yeah, what the hell are we actually doing?
I understand that you want to go and talk to these not cultists. What would you call them in the mountains? A tribe.
Cultist tribes.
You want to convince them to join us. Is that correct?
In a matter of speaking, yes.
And then once they join us, if they are great enough in numbers, you seek to raise the court and everything in it. Is that for everyone, every living being that
wouldn't
is
it be
opposed?
Wouldn't it be great if the new court let these people worship in the open?
If the new court let... Oh, these... But would they, in turn, deny other cults from doing the same thing? Are we just replacing one with the other?
Politics is a tricky business.
Very much so.
But it's where we have to start, is first convincing them to help us at all.
Right.
We don't know if they could just attack us on sight. We don't know until we get there.
They will attack me on sight. It is without question.
Do they have something against you and your people?
I have something of theirs, and I put Bahath on the ground.
I thought this was given to you by your people.
And taken from,
Oh,
yes.
now I see. Why do you think they would help you if you have this sort of grudge?
Still working on that.
You need help convincing them.
In a matter of speaking, yes. I need help getting to them. Bahath will do the speaking one way or the other. As long as I can get in front of Imix, he will obey the old pact. It is a way to convince those who are otherwise stubborn to call upon that.
A deal is a deal kind of a thing.
Yes.
This is so confusing.
We have many paths before us, but I think it's clear. I should also note, I do not care what happens to the court. If he burns it through the embers of Imix, it does not matter to me, but
I do. But if you do not care, then Berg, this is basically what I think we're all saying. The people that are bad are the people that are at the Monastery of the Sun trying to destroy it. That's the lieutenant
Yes,
and the man, right? Yes. And what we want to do is take these two up to the mountains, to their cult of fire people, make them an army, destroy those others.
Yes.
And then, what I would like to do, and they haven't heard this yet, I would like to rebuild the court. And I would like to rebuild it with different rules and rulership, because there needs to be structure and boundaries if everybody is going to prosper. With chaos, yes, nature will take its course, but if there is an order, if we are able to heal the court, I think it benefits everything for miles around. The animals, the plants, everything gets pruned and cut, and everything grows together. And that doesn't mean we can't have a new religious system as well.
I believe the tower would agree that
Right. I was about to say
Yeah.
that's like exactly the philosophy of the
Yeah.
and like that's doing heaven's work. Also, it's worth noting here that what you're talking about, like it's one thing to burn down a church, it's another to destroy Catholicism, right? Like what we're talking about is like if you go up into the mountains and you try to get the worshippers of Imix and you're like, we're going to destroy the whole country. They're going to be like, cool, have fun with that, you crazy people. Like,
Right.
if there were enough of us to do that, we would have done it already. But like, if you wanted to try to get them to help you, like, do something with the temple, that might be possible for them.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just big picturing it the
Sure,
whole the whole way out.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
also,
okay.
I wanted to mention, as far as the reason why I'm not like standing in opposition to like supplanting one thing for another thing, is that thing we discussed in the Patreon thing. Like, I am trying to like understand and go with like what
they believe,
what the
yeah.
party believes.
Yeah.
And I think it's logical, or not logical, but like, I think I'm able to believe that one religion is not necessarily better than the other. And if you think that, and if you help me and I help you, my goals might be achieved.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so what then is I think, like, the first step? So rather than, because we could talk about big picture forever, but, like, what is
Right.
to be done now? Like, you basically have some time to rest here, but then
Yep.
you have to press on. You have to go, like, out into the world and leave the safety of this, like, wizard lady's camp. And then what do you want to do? Do you want to go and try to find the embers of Imix in the mountains? Or do you want, like it sounds like to me
Yeah.
that's the plan, at least the start.
Is
Yeah.
there a way that you can, since we do not have a map, now that you know sort of a general idea of where we are heading, can you help us with some magic, perhaps?
If she'd be willing to give me something that I need.
Which is?
I need a set of divination tools. Worth at least 100 gold, and then I could guide us right there. Using magic.
Do you need the tools and not the gold?
I need the tools to use the magic.
Ooh, so the tools you used for the previous spell was not
And
enough.
once I have them, I could always use them whenever we need them to get anywhere. Once a day.
She might have something like this. It's worth asking. She liked you the most.
She's a researcher, though, not a. Your tools are for a diviner. Her tools are for something different. But I will ask. I have no problem.
She
with
has
that.
lots of magical things. She's that house was disgustingly cluttered with stuff.
There was a lot of random miscellaneous
Yeah.
stuff around there. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I
well,
think I saw rocket firing Boba Fett in there.
yeah. Right. It's the wizard version.
Yeah.
Of that thing where you open the storage locker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a +1 sword? Yeah, I think
my
it's a +1 sword. Nope, just a regular sword. All right, so you, Berg, do you want to like set up a camp for everybody? You were talking about maybe that being a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just started setting up like what a
Yeah,
basic
so
camp
you
would be
you
here.
rest. I think everybody for the little bit that we just did. Everybody mark inspiration if you don't have it already.
Great.
And then Ramus, yeah, she has some. What's the spell that you want to cast that you need the tools for?
Find the Path. It's a 6th level spell.
Okay.
Allows you to find the shortest, most direct physical route to a specific fixed location that you are familiar with on the same plane of existence.
Okay. All right. So find your way to a place. Yeah. Let me look at because like again this unclear language around like familiar with.
Yeah.
Like know that it exists. Like
Yeah, like she knows where it is, but
Yeah,
I'll be
but you
casting it. I
don't.
know it's weird.
yeah. Oh, you need divination tools and an object from the location you wish to find. So you would need something. You would find your way back there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could find our way back here to this camp. Which
Oh,
would
that's
actually help
true.
us.
Yeah, find the path would actually lead you here.
Yeah,
Might be useful.
Yeah, that'd be super useful.
'Cause she said we couldn't find it otherwise.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and the tools are from here.
Can't
Yeah,
we
that's-
find
and
it
it's
otherwise?
Both. It's both. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think if somebody wants to like make a persuasion check to like ask her for that.
It's not gonna be me.
No,
I got a
figured.
-2 there.
Yeah.
We're
Me too,
all bad.
I got a 3.
Everyone's.
You
yeah,
got a -3?
Plus 3.
plus 3 because
Oh,
he's got
plus
a train.
three. Okay,
Do
I
you
was
wanna-
gonna
so
say,
you wanna
you-
ask
yeah.
her about it and
Sure.
Okay. Sure. So yeah, go ahead and roll it.
Can we do it after we rest so I can not do it at disadvantage? So I can
Yeah, you
clear
can ask
up
it, like, in the
one
morning.
exhaustion?
Yeah, totally.
We'll
Okay.
do it after the break. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
so-
We're not.
Yeah.
So everybody takes a long rest. And-
Before that happens, I
Okay,
do want to do
yeah.
something while we're resting. Like,
Okay, yeah.
that kind
so
of thing.
night falls.
Okay, cool.
And she gives you like space. She doesn't come out and hang out. Like
Right.
she's used to being alone, so she's in her house and she's puttering around and like whatever in there. So
Right.
what was it you wanted to do?
Okay, hold on. Did I see anything in during that investigation thing that could be used towards my purposes that we discussed?
Of course, yeah, definitely.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure how much convincing it would take, but I do want to go there while we're getting ready to sleep to
Okay.
do something.
All right.
So I excuse myself and I go and talk to Zaida.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So she's just in her house, and I think you see her like you come in, and she's like peering at. There's like a probably a rat or something, and she's got it in a little like cage, and she's got Ramus's little beaker thing, and there's like some fire under it, and so it's like the vapors are collecting in the top of a tube, and then it's like dripping down the edge, and she like turns it. And you hear it's like as she turns the little like edge of the spigot, and a little drop of this stuff like falls down. It hits the rat, and the rat starts squealing and like falls over, and like steam is coming off of where it hit it, and then the rat just like seizes up and dies. And she's like, fascinating. And then her little like familiar guy jumps up on the table and like opens the cage and takes the dead rat out and turns and he looks at you, he's just holding the rat like, oh, hi. And so she turns around.
Hello, I hope I'm not interrupting.
No, not at all. This sample that it's fascinating.
They seemed very, very concerned with its distribution or whatever, because I tried to take it from them several times, and it took quite some doing to get it out of their hands.
As far as I can tell, the followers of this black-cloaked lord have an interesting relationship cosmologically to life and reincarnation. It's their belief that once someone is cast off their body, that it's free to be used as they please. And so as a result, things like this, she shrugs. There may be more to it. I still have to, there's a battery of tests.
Do you know at the base what it is? Is it a corrosive or a poison or?
She says it seems to be a bit of both. I wouldn't suggest you drink it or touch it, or really honestly look at it for too long. But there's something else. I have to. And she kind of like just like trails off, muttering to herself and like just staring at it. Like she's just kind of forgotten you're here.
I go to one of the vials or whatever, one of the things that will serve the purpose that I want, and I pick it off her shelf or off the table or wherever it's like laying, and I bring it over to her.
Yeah, so she turns and
she
looks at it like, "Why are you touching my stuff?"
I put out like it's in my open hand. And I say, I noticed this. It's like a vial, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not too much left of it.
I noticed this vial. Is it precious to you because I wish to purchase it from you?
Looks around. I don't do a lot of trading. I mean, gold. I don't need it. And everything that I have here, it will serve some purpose or another. If I don't need it now, I might need it tomorrow or in a week. I don't have a lot of that left, as you can see. What do you need it for?
I want to prove a point.
She looks at you like, the only point you can prove with that is, like, she's kind of looking at you like, who are you going to use that on?
Oh, don't worry. I do want to discuss portion size, I suppose. How much of this would be lethal?
Well, it depends on the size of the person imbibing it.
Well, my size, let's say.
She like looks you up and down. But you're a monk. You have blessings.
Very true.
I've seen monks who can. Well, I mean, this stuff's pretty bad, and she gestures at it, but at least survive.
I'm not saying
for a moment or
I'm
two.
not saying me. I'm saying my size.
Oh, to incapacitate or kill them outright?
Incapacitate.
That's tricky. Too much and they die. Not enough and it's a stomach ache. Maybe a little internal bleeding. If I had a better idea of who you plan to give it to, you could see her. She's about to be like assassinate. I might be able to help you.
All right. I'm going to teach a lesson to one or two of my compatriots. I don't want to hurt them permanently, but I do want to allow them to learn something.
And she says, make a persuasion check.
Oh, I am going to have to make a check. Damn it.
Oh, yeah, you got to make a check.
Okay, so this is a disadvantage again.
Okay, because you're all tired.
Yep, because I'm all exhausted, one level. That's a 6 plus 3 is 9.
9? Okay.
Yep.
So she looks at it and she says, that's a harsh lesson. And not one to teach to your friends.
Like I said, I don't wish to leave them in any permanent harm. Just enough to possibly make them a little queasy or the like. Give them a stomach ache, so to speak.
You can see that she's not like morally opposed to the idea, but you're asking for something that's like precious to her. So if you had something to replace it or something like good or better for her to have, she would probably
I'll
trade
look
it.
for like an empty bottle.
Okay.
I'll give you... You seem to like spirits, yes?
And she gestures at her like the big bottle, which is like way like lower now because
was chugging on it,
Yeah, she's like, it was an interesting experiment, nothing else.
Well, tomorrow I can concoct for you a very special brew out of this. And I tap my wine jug.
And it's like she's just remembering that you have it. Right? She saw it through before, and she's like, "That's right. Oh, I could replenish. There's so much I could. I would need it a few days. I know that you can't use it." And now she's just like I need a bunch of like basic shit that thing can provide.
Yeah.
And she looks around and she says, "If there's anything else that you want," and she's like looking at it like, "Now I want that thing. I want to trade you for that."
Right. I'm afraid the contents are what you can have, not the item itself. I'm sorry to say, it is quite attached to me.
The eggs are for sale, but you're keeping the goose.
Yes, very well put.
She shrugs. That's fine. I would be happy to use it. I have a few things that I could replenish from its supplies, and in exchange for its use. Now, are you leaving in the morning?
Yes. So you can have one of those things because it can only be changed every.
She's like, I know. I've seen one of these jugs before. And she says, but if I'm going to get my payment from you, you're going to need to find a way back, and that's going to be very difficult unless you have some kind of magic. And
well,
I don't have anything prepared. And I'm not taking my shield down.
No, it's actually our interests might be aligned. I'll let you talk to Ramus again. He actually has, specific tools that you might have on you.
She nods.
Yes, that will not only help us find our way, but help us find our way back.
Of course. Divination tools. I've got some around here somewhere. She's like looking around, and she says, all right, I'll dig them up, and in exchange, you let me use that thing tonight, and then when you get back, for 4 days.
You want to use this for 4 days?
She nods. You can take it with you. You're going to need it in the jungle. But if you survive, and you come back, 4 days, you can leave it here, you can stay with it. I don't care either way.
I grab the bottle of moonshine or whatever.
Yeah.
And I find a glass and I pour it. Put 2 glasses and I pour it, and I put the bottle down and it's a deal. You have an arrangement.
So she drinks. Okay.
Now portion this out for me so that I can continue with my lesson.
Okay. How many doses do you want?
I want 3 doses.
Okay. She helps you portion them out accordingly.
Okay. And these are enough to make ill but not make dead.
Yes. She seems certain.
Okay. Can I roll insight on that?
No, it's not about insight.
Okay.
It's more just like she's like, sure, yeah, with the degree of exactness, fine.
Okay.
Like, that should be enough. There's
Well,
lots
I
of
mean,
variables.
it's not like
She's not
it's
doing
an
it on
exact
purpose.
science anyway.
Yeah, she's not lying. It's just that we're gonna roll to see how good she is at it later.
Okay. Later? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I take my leave.
Okay.
Thank her for doing that for me. And then
Yeah, she digs up the tools that Ramus needs.
Awesome.
go back to the camp.
Okay.
And tell Ramus, it seems that our interests are aligned in this case. She wants us to be able to find our way back because her and I have struck a deal. She was very interested in this, my jug here, and I promised her she could study it, but after we return.
She did say it's been a long time since she's had company.
Very true. Now, I don't know what you need, so I told her you'd be visiting, and tell her yourself exactly what you need to do this spell or what have you.
I'll explain it to her in the morning, but I'm sure any divination tool will work.
Well then, her door is open and she is waiting.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So that's the thing, is like I don't think you need to do anything else here, like unless you have something specific you need from her, like Yota did. Like that's all sorted out. She'll give you the tools you need.
Cool.
You eat your own food. She doesn't have any extra. You hang out. You rest, and in the morning, you wake up and are ready to set out.
Oh, I wanted to actually do that before, like while Ramus was in the
Oh, okay.
talking to her.
All right, so that was you wanted to like
Before
separate
our
Ramus
rest.
From, okay.
Exactly.
All right, sure. So Ramus, you go to get the divination tools then, which leaves Yota with these two.
I pull out, I sit. Are you guys just like kind of just sitting by the fire, or?
I think Berg's probably like he sparked up the fire and maybe grabbed a couple like logs that are around just to like sit on. He's like dragging his over and like puts it down, and then sets down his hammer and sits by the fire, kind of looks around, and sees you coming over, like
Yeah, I'm probably on the edge of
pokes the fire a little bit.
like this encampment, staring out into the forest, thinking about the giant, because that definitely got my attention. So my back's probably turned to the rest of the encampment, fire, whatnot.
Berg, Maharib, if you would be so kind as to join me by the. There is a fire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's hot out, so it's not a fire for heat, but it's a fire for like
food.
just like for making food.
Sure.
And, like, preparing. Yeah.
Yeah, I walk over.
You can't have a camp without a fire.
Yeah. Boil water and stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I walk over.
Okay. I have poured all of the contents into one vial, so it's all together.
Okay.
And I asked him, please sit. I want us to be closer as a unit, like soldiers, so to speak. And I want you to understand that I am here for the long haul. I'm not going to run or not fight, because I want to display something to you. If you would be willing, and I pull out the vial and I show them. Is it like a color?
No, it would just be clear.
Okay. In this vial, there is a very powerful poison. And I take out the two empty vials. And I pour a quarter of it in one, a quarter of it in the other, and keep half of it. So I've got double the amount.
Okay.
Now I want you to know that this poison, in this dosage, will give you no more than possibly a stomach ache. This is enough to kill or incapacitate one of our size. And I want us to drink them together to see if you can withstand it. And I take it and I drink mine, like I'll drink it
Like no problem.
You're just like, I dare you, and you
Yep.
take a drink.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think then as he does that, we both just kind of like look. At each
Yeah,
other.
Berg's like kind of
We're like,
confused.
And then obviously I see you drink it, so I just sit there and kind of like watch to see what happens over, I don't know, 30 seconds or so.
And you see me sit there, eyes open, cross-legged, hands on the knees, and just stare back at you the whole time.
And this is to do what again? The goal of this practice?
Bond,
Yes.
you want
I want to show you that strength doesn't just mean muscle in combat. And I want to show you that I have my own strength.
I think.
And once you ingest it, you'll see that to overcome I want you to try and not succumb to the effects of the poison. Because I know the effects are there. I feel them, but I don't let them control me.
I think before Berg grabs it, his mind drifts back to there's an orcish like similar thing like this. It's like a test of might.
Yeah.
That those that are either close or those that wish to become close. Usually, it's amongst those that are already friends, and it's almost like a game to them.
Right. Yeah. The poison drinking game.
Exactly. Just to see how tough you really are and who handles it the best. And it's very similar to that. So he's just like, all right, fuck it.
Right. Did you hear? Therok drank 400 drachs of the poison. No, that's impossible. Therok is a coward.
Like, Berg, like, grabs the vial, looks at him, looks at Maharib, and he's like,
I think I understand. This is important to you. Blah.
he says the orcish phrase for fuck it, and then he goes,
Yes, the orcish phrase for fuck it. Okay, so let's see how strong it is. So your intent was that it would be, well, here, why don't you set a DC? Like, how strong did you want it to be?
I want it to be strong enough to make them get, like, physically queasy. Like, strongly
Like, take
ill.
the poisoned condition or whatever.
Take the poison condition, and if it makes them, like, pass out, that's fine. I just don't want to kill them.
Yeah, how hard is it to resist? What's the DC?
I would say let's do DC 17.
17? Okay,
Yeah.
let's see how close she can get to that. Okay, yeah, she got a 17. So
Wow, nailed it.
This dose is fine. So okay, so Berg, can you make a DC 17 Constitution save, please?
okay. Where's my...
And we'll say
Con mod
if you fail, then you'll take some damage and the poison condition, and if you succeed, you'll take like half the damage and not the poison condition. So you just like grit your teeth and it hurts, but it's like you can
You see
push through it.
17?
Yeah.
So, well, that's not enough.
What'd you get?
That plus 5, so
13.
13.
13. Okay, so you drink it, and yeah, and it feels like at first it just has this like chemical taste because it's like a it's not a plant-based poison. It's poisonous because it's like a chemical that's bad for you. So it's like drinking
Gasoline.
yeah, it's not good. And so you're like, and you like feel it like knotting up your guts. So you'll take a little bit of damage. 16 damage. So it definitely would have killed someone smaller and weaker than you. So you take 16 as its like virulence courses through you.
Why I want to do it before the rest.
Yeah, right. And you take so you take the damage and you take the poison condition. So like, what does that look like? Are you like basically when you're poisoned, you can't really like do anything. Like the poison condition. Let's see. It's one of the real bad ones. It'll go away. Like you'll get to save every turn to get rid of it. You won't take any more damage. It's disadvantaged in all your rolls. So does Berg get sick? Are you just like you just sit down and like it hurts? Like what is Berg's response?
Yeah, I think Berg like sits there and he's kind of familiar, like you said, thinks that he's kind of familiar with this sort of game, if you want to call it that, or bonding ritual.
Yeah.
So he's literally just sitting there like staring at the fire, waiting for it to come. And he doesn't throw up. It's just like you see all of a sudden his neck tighten and his muscles just go. You see him like physically willing himself to be like, "Don't do it. Don't throw up. Don't throw up, you bitch. Don't be a bitch.
I'm gonna boot.
Yeah. That feeling of like needing to throw up, but being in a place where you can't do it, and all you can think about is like, I am not going to barf right now.
Yep.
It's not. I'm not. Nope. It's not happening. I
Yeah.
refuse. I am the master of my own guts.
There's
Okay.
probably like a moment where you see him like that,
Yep.
and he like stops it. And he literally like physically hits himself, like hits his gut, willing it to go. Yeah, and then that's just you see him like very much trying to
Just
control it.
sweating and like trying to.
Outside, you see the struggle slightly, like he's constipated. Inside, it's just, oh my god, this motherfucker.
the faint creaking of teeth grinding together.
Yeah.
So, are you going to take the poison?
Yeah,
drink
I
Kool-Aid?
hold it out. Yeah, I hold
Okay.
it. And maybe this all happens like after. So I don't see what happens to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 'cause this is I see you just chug it.
We can only reaction shot one person at a time, so that's
Right,
what's happening
yeah.
for Berg for
Yeah.
now. And then
Yeah, and I look at Yota and say, "You played my game. I'll play yours." And I just
drink
chug
it.
real quick,
Okay.
yeah.
So same difficulty. Like
Yep.
you said, you just split it. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. Hold on. So I'll see if she.
Oh, okay.
I'll see if she's able to,
You're like,
to match
haha,
it.
I hope
his
she-
poison was
She
more.
just fails. Oh, wow.
No, she does good. So she gave you. She got an 18. So she gives you. Sorry, Scoot. Sorry. And you. And so you got a DC 17 Constitution save.
Okay. I have a +9 on this.
That's fine. I mean, that's fine. I know, but I just wanted you to feel it,
Right.
and also to see Berg is important too.
Nice. So
I got a
it
+9
occurs to
on
me-
this,
It occurs to me that I could use another roll, but I'm just like, no, this is like
This is a ritual.
This is
yeah.
a ritual, so I don't like try to cheat it, and
Okay.
I just
Yep.
let it fail.
All right.
Yeah.
So same thing. You can feel it. It doesn't feel good. You take less damage. You only take 7. Take 7 damage.
Yep.
And you are poisoned as well. So what is Mahariv's response to being poisoned?
Have we eaten yet? I guess we were eating around the fire, right?
We ate a bit, yeah.
Yeah. I think I just like throw up.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like
Hork up your rations.
Yeah.
Some water. Okay.
Throw
All
up.
right. So both of you make saves again because you're still poisoned, right? We'll see how long it lasts.
okay. I'm gonna roll. So again,
I'm
+9.
going to do a different D20 over there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, JP, you go first.
It's a 20.
Okay, so the effects fade after about 6 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got 20. Okay. And
Okay.
then Max.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. And a blip.
Okay, so it's
Is it cockeyed? I'm pretty sure
no,
that's cockeyed.
That's a 4.
That's cockeyed.
It's not.
I'm pretty sure the felt is a little. I don't know.
It's a 4. It's.
Can we get a review?
Let's get
I-
Can we
a.
spool up a review? Can we?
It's not cocked. It's fine. It's a 4.
It's like a slight angle there. God damn it!
Why?
Okay,
challenge.
right.
Throw
So
it.
it's
Rolling on the play.
Roll, you can roll again, right? Because we're just trying to see how Longberg is affected by it.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are like 6-second increments.
Yeah. So you're still just like, grr,
That's a 15.
it's still just
Oh
like
yeah,
the worst.
still going. That's still not enough.
That's 17.
17.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
So it's about like a minute.
Yeah.
A little less, right?
Yeah.
Where you're just like, ugh, guts knotted up, hurts real bad.
Yep.
And then finally, the feeling kind of passes, and you can relax. You feel your body like stop being so tense. And it's clear that both of you, like to varying degrees, were like deeply affected by this. But when we look over at Yotazo, he's just like fine.
Yeah. I think I just look back and say like, well, clearly yours was not poisoned. This is a trick.
Do you think that I'm a liar?
I look back at Berg.
I think I look at Maharib and then back to you, and Berg's
You saw me pour them from the same vials. That's why I did it in front of you.
Berg's.
The reason, if you allow me, your training showed you how to best harm and kill what was in front of you. My strength comes from controlling myself and things around or things inside of me. I wanted to display that although our skills might not be alike, the strength that we all have is. I'm sorry about your vomiting, and I'm sorry that you're...
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Berg
like
just
wiping my
waves
face.
it off.
What's a little puke between friends?
Yeah.
And I vow from here on that I will strive to be as outwardly strong as you both are. If you try to understand that inner strength also has merit.
Berg nods. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd nod as well.
Very well. Now I'm hungry and I know that you've eaten.
I could eat again.
We got a slow zoom in on just puke.
A pile of Goliath barf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to prepare some food and get some sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So you are going to you're going to go and rest. And Remus, I don't think unless there's something you want to talk to Zaida about, I think she just gives you the divining rod or whatever, and it's like, hey, here, I'm not using it. I just have it laying around. Some nun gave it to me.
Yeah.
And she's happy about the deal that she made with Yotazo, and is looking forward to getting you back. So we give you your long rest. Everyone rests, and you get all your hit points and your abilities back and everything. And in the morning, before you set out, Zaida comes to talk to you, Remus, and she looks exhausted. Like she looks like she's been up all night, and she kind of says like, Krill, can we? 'Cause she doesn't know your first name.
Yeah.
Can we speak a moment?
Sure.
And so she takes you back to her house, and there's like dead rats like in a pile. There's like a dozen of them just laying on the floor, and she looks at them and looks at you, and she's like, "Don't worry about that. This fluid you gave me, it's an incredibly dangerous poison. It's killed everything that I've applied it to. I think there's something else. The magic, it's... How to put this to someone who might... You have a magic item. A ring, maybe, or a cloak, something enchanted. These items have a kind of sympathetic magic built into them, where one can attune oneself to the item so that they can use it. No simple potion where anyone who drinks it, but as I imagine your friends have bonded with their magic weapons, that sort of thing. This principle seems to have been applied to this fluid. I have my suspicions, but I think that it's meant to kill anyone except the one person that it was made for. Do you know anything about that?
I don't. It was thrown around me and my friends. It could be one of us.
She looks back at the dead rats, and she's like, I feel like running tests is sort of out of the question. I don't want to accidentally kill anyone. But if we could find out who it was for, I have the suspicion that its effects would be different. I don't know how, but I can keep studying it if you'd like.
Could we try attuning to it?
She shakes her head and she says, I don't think it works that way. It's done already. It's like a letter signed to someone whose address we don't know yet. They're going to be the only one who can unlock it. Whoever made this is a master of their work. I'd be impressed if it wasn't a terrifying weapon. Well, maybe I'm a little impressed.
Well, I think it's not Yotazo, because the person holding it was directly next to him. So that's one person gone. It'd have to be one of the other three of us.
It's a pretty big gamble.
I know. I have a ring that makes me resistant to poison. It might not kill me outright. I have been assured of the ring.
Yeah, and she looks at it and she nods and she says, if it were just a simple poison, then maybe, but I don't know enough about its effects. There's more to it than that. Necrotic energy. It's... you see what a single drop did.
Do you feel that if we gave you more time with it, you could, or that you're at the limits of your ability to figure out more?
Give me more time. You're coming back, so I'll see what I can find out.
Fair enough. We'll leave it with you then.
Well, good luck finding the fire worshippers, I guess.
Good luck storming the castle.
Bye-bye.
They had not a chance.
Not a chance. It would take a miracle.
Just out of curiosity, have you ever experienced anything like this before?
I've seen a lot of strange things. I hate to say it, but if you were looking for answers, you're probably heading the wrong direction. This reminds me, if anything, of the spell that the lieutenant used to kill everybody in the monastery.
So it's possibly linked to the Necromancer King.
She shrugs. A good hypothesis, not one I can test. But hey, if I get that appointment, I'll just ask her myself.
Well, I'd better be safe than sorry, so we'll leave you with you. Find out everything you can, and we'll talk amongst ourselves about it.
Of course. I'm going to need more rats. And yeah, so you leave with the stuff. So you leave her house, and I think we stay with her, and we pan kind of down over to the pile. And after you leave, the camera lingers on the dead rat pile, and we see one of them near the bottom. Its leg twitches.
Oh.
So you head out, and you go back to your friends who are all gearing up, tightening their armor and stuff. And yeah, so you guys are ready to head out into the mountains. You get your spell.
Yep.
So he can bring you back. So what's the plan? To just go west out into the
We can
into
see the mountains
jungle?
from here because there's no canopy? Or
I mean, you know the direction. I mean, if you go west from anywhere in the Court of Swords, you will hit mountains because there's a big mountain chain that runs down that side of the country.
yeah.
So yeah, it's not hard. You just go west from anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, I think I take the lead.
Okay.
We start heading west.
Okay.
Does she say goodbye to us at all, or just Ramus?
Nope. She just stays in her house. She's got a project now, and she's obsessing over it.
Okay. Yeah, I think when he comes back, did you get what you needed?
She gave me tools. But she told me about what I gave her. She says it's like a targeted poison, where it's meant to kill everyone except one.
You mean the other way around? It's meant to kill one person?
It's meant to kill everyone except one person.
Really?
The person was targeting probably one of us.
So they wanted all of us dead.
Everyone dead except one person.
Wait, is this the poison that was flung at us at the bridge before we crossed over?
The bottle that Yodazo so heroically stopped from being thrown.
Yota, was that the poison that we drank last night?
No. Ramus, you might need a little update. We had a ritualistic
It was a
poison
bonding
drinking.
moment.
Boys' night.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Well, what are you guys doing? Just fucking drinking some poison.
Yeah.
We're playing.
Uh-oh.
We're playing. Who's gonna die?
But I assure you, I would never make you ingest something that I was unaware of.
Well,
That was not a question of anger, but
No, it was not then. No.
Was that poison laced with poison? This poison is poisonous.
I don't know anything about that poison. That poison's got magic.
Oh
in
my
it.
God! Someone poisoned his poison.
Why is there ale in my beer?
okay, he looks back at this poison is from where then?
She believes it a powerful person, possibly a Necromancer King.
Well, he's apparently can drink poison all the time. Let him
you
try
drink
it.
it.
Wait a minute. This is
You're like, but I just because just last night you were like, I'm tough on the inside.
In the strength.
Yeah, and our strength. It was
listen,
last night.
but
Don't drink it.
it's got magical properties.
Don't.
What I gave you is more natural.
It was joke. Joke.
Yes, yeah.
Joke.
Yeah,
Need to work
was-
I'm joking. Yes.
on that.
Yeah.
Do not drink the poison.
I won't drink that. Yeah, I will if you ask me to again, though.
No, that would be dumb.
Everybody make an intelligence save against this being a very bad idea. All right. Okay. Yeah.
Who do you think they want alive? My assumption.
If they wanted to kill you, he was right next to you. He could have done it.
True.
It must have been someone else. I'm trying to remember where we all were that day, but it's so long ago.
We were on a bridge. There was a ton of commoners around.
You've had so many exciting episodes.
Just jog my memory. Who were they associated with? The people that were trying to kill us there?
You don't know.
We have no idea.
They
We
were
never-
just
we
some
never knew.
They were just some undead dudes.
No.
that showed up.
Okay. No markings.
Yeah.
Or nothing. Okay.
Yeah. But you also know that like the forces of darkness that hang out in these, they don't have like heraldry they carry with them.
Right.
Right.
Well, I can think of reasons for them to want him or you. The sword. And him, he's sometimes worshipped as a god in places. Very valuable for raising an army. And your sword, you said.
Hard cut when you say that, when you're like worshipped as a god in some places. We hard cut to like a basement somewhere, and there's a bunch of people dressed in robes, and they're all kneeling. They're kneeling in front of a big wicker statue of Berg, like a big wicker man of Berg. Yeah, really crude.
It's like a
green-
shitty
yeah,
one.
green painted Berg effigy, and yeah, they're just like Berg, Berg, and someone's like, Berg will return. It has been foreseen he will come back to us. Yeah, in our moment of need, there's Berg.
Yeah, I kind of, you see me like stare off in the distance. We had not met Berg, you and I, yet at this encounter. This was at the bridge before we ended up in that town. So it was.
Oh, fuck. Who was there?
It was one of us three.
It was just us three, because...
That's right. You met Berg in town. It wasn't
Oh,
Berg.
yes, I'm sorry. My
Just sounded
intelligence
two.
is lower than average, so I forgot. I thought Berg wasn't even there.
I understand.
Big ups, hashtag dummy squad.
Yeah.
You're right. It was either me or you.
Well, why not him?
He wasn't there.
But what about Yota? He was
He's
there.
saying
He was
that he
right
had
next to them.
he could have tossed it right on me, but he wasn't aiming at me.
Did you tell anyone you were coming here?
No.
Yeah, like only your people, right?
I sent message to Berg that I was coming with help, but I didn't mention you.
Berg did it.
Couldn't have done it.
Berg?
My plan unfolds.
Yeah. Oh. Final Berg.
Yeah.
So, what's the plan? You want to leave, or you want to continue to puzzle over this situation?
I mean, it was you that they wanted to kill.
It would have to be. But why?
I don't know. Think on it. We have.
She's looking into it. She'll figure out more of what it is. But we should get going.
Fair enough.
All we have is west in the mountains. It's the best we have.
As I said, they'll see, and I'd like point to the sword. They'll find us. I'm not worried.
A direction is better than nothing. We've gone on with less.
Yes.
Yes, and I don't go while marching into the army of darkness doesn't seem like a wise idea right now.
No.
No.
Not without the Book of the Dead.
I was going to say, not to have a
The
chainsaw for a
Necronomicon,
hand.
Thoughtu Varata.
Yeah.
All right, so you just like head west. You're just going to search.
Yeah, we start
Okay.
walking.
All right. So somebody can make a survival check, because we don't have to worry about food. You get the food and water thing sorted out. You don't really have to worry about getting lost because you can come back. So there's no need to be like, every day we roll and then nature and like whatever. Now,
It's more just about time.
yeah, it's about how long it takes. So make a survival check, whoever's the highest survival, with advantage, because you have your friends helping you.
I think
+3.
I have +3. Berg, I
I-
think, is highest.
I have
Nope.
5.
I have +2. I just do it for
Oh.
some reason.
What?
I don't have the highest, but I'm forced to
I
do it
I do it
constantly.
for food and stuff like that
I
because
have
it's part
plus-
of being an outlander.
Okay.
I have
So
plus
I don't do it
5.
just because I'm the best
Yeah.
at surviving.
I have +5. So
Although I am pretty good at surviving.
You are very good at surviving, but the other kind.
yeah.
17.
17? Okay, that's not bad. All right. So you find your first clue.
Do you roll with advantage or?
Advantage. You
Yeah,
guys are
'cause they're-
helping.
You have
Oh,
a group.
right,
It's-
right,
you're all
right.
working together.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's see how many days pass. Let's see how it's cocked. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 days pass.
A fucking week.
You spend a week just like out in the jungle. Well, like, because remember, there's no GPS, there's none of that shit, and you
Right.
don't even know where you're going or what you're looking for. You're just like, we're just
Right.
gonna go west till we get out of the jungle.
Yep.
And that's like a bunch of that time, and then we're gonna wander around the mountains looking for old dwarven ruins because that's maybe where they're like holed up.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that at the 7 days go by, Berg finding food, like
Do we get some sick montage music?
Yeah.
To win.
Yeah, right, exactly. So the mountains there's foothills, and you press on west through the foothills until you are high enough that you can see the jungle, this sea of emeralds stretching out in all directions. You can see the Temple to the Sun and its sort of spires off in the distance, and you know that east somewhere, many miles and days, is the ocean, and you get further and further away from that, and deeper and deeper into the mountains, and there's no point at which you get totally lost, but it does feel pretty pointless. Like, there are days where you spend 8 hours just
Walking.
walking and being like, are we going to see anything? Now, there's wildlife, but it avoids you, right? There's birds and stuff in the mountains, and I mean, maybe for Maharib it's better because this is like home turf for you. You like the tall mountains, but you can see these guys are like kind of having a rough time, like climbing and pushing themselves to like be in this environment. But on the 7th day, probably around twilight.
Berg rose.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the seventh day of searching the mountains, you find yourselves after moving through kind of a narrow passage up in the mountains to kind of like cross west. You find yourselves at a ruin. Now, you've seen like dwarven signposts along the way, long forgotten. There's the hill dwarves, and most of them left the hills to go to the human cities and like join human civilization. But the mountain dwarves were like, nah, we're not about these humans. We're gonna keep living up in our. So you've seen lots of hill dwarf stuff, and this would be familiar to you because they're a pretty common sight in the Court of Swords growing up here. And you see signposts and like some of their abandoned like hovels and stuff, but no sign of mountain dwarves or by any means the cult of the Embers of Imix until this 7th day, where you come through a narrow valley, a narrow pass in the mountains, and you come out at a set of dwarven ruins. It's a great stone gate. And before the gate, now these are the kinds of places, it's a big archway of sort of hexagonal stone interlocking. It's beautiful and ancient stonework, and big stone doors shut in front of it. And in the space out front, there's a metal cage, and it's maybe like 30 feet cube, right? 30 by 30 by 30. Big iron cage, and the iron is all black with soot. There is ash and soot all over around it, and a pile of ash like at the bottom of the cage. And as soon as you see it, you can see that there are skulls and like other familiar-looking bones, like a chunk of rib cage, inside this cage, like burned. These like burned bones, and it's just sitting out in the open.
Did you say the cage looks like it was torn open, or does
Nope.
it
No, it's shut.
just shut?
Yep.
Is there something like where it can be raised or lowered, or is it just a cage that's kind of sitting on
It's
the
sitting
ground?
on the stone because like you're up in like rock, and there's a little like area out front of the dwarven thing, so it's like a plaza. There's like broken columns. There used to be maybe like an amphitheater kind of thing out front, but it's long since fallen away. So there's just this flat area of stone in front of the gates, and then there's a big ass metal cage just sitting on the stone, and everything around is all burnt. And there's a pile of like ash.
Is there a door?
Yeah, there's a door under the archway.
But are we going into the door?
Well, it's like some sort of ritual was held here with fire. I mean, it's better than the boring ass 7 days we just had.
Yes.
Yep.
You said 30 by 30 feet?
Yeah. It's a big one.
Does that... could I understand... Is that the size of basically a dragon or a dragon whelp? A red dragon?
No, I mean, you could put a lot of stuff in a 30 by 30 cage. It's big.
Airplane.
Okay.
What about the spell that you cast to find our way here? Is it just called Find Your Way or whatever?
Find the path.
There it is. Does it? Do you recast it and it feels like this is?
He didn't cast it to find
He
your way
didn't
here.
cast it,
He's
yeah.
got to find
Yeah.
his way
We're
back.
gonna- yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we okay.
It's
We
a
figured it
come
was
home
more
spell.
useful. Yeah, more
Gotcha.
useful that way.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Come
Okay.
home spell, not a go.
But your divining thing got us here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like it feels like this.
no, you
No.
got here by wandering.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
like you just
Okay.
got a lot, like
That's why it takes
walking
so
around
long.
in the mountains. That's why it took a week.
Took 7 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her path looked
She
like
told us that they were out west and just where we were exploring.
Yeah, mountains. And then this, walking into this area, like this is fairly clearly a big fuck off sign in front of somebody's house, right? This is a warning. Like it's a burnt cage full of like corrupt, like burned up bodies.
Yeah. I guess I look towards Ramus and say, "Do you have that spell that you cast on me the other day in Berg in the temple?"
Are you saying you need my mighty magic again?
I like to roll my eyes. Yes, Ramus, I require your mighty magic.
Very well. I shall bless thee with the blessings of fire, and you shall be protected from death. Just once, and once only. I cast Death Ward on you.
Okay.
Yeah. I will walk to the cage, open the door, and shut the door and stand in the cage.
it's a bold move. All right.
Okay.
Does
All right.
anything happen when I shut the door?
So you walk over to the cage, and and you just like pull the latch and like pull it open, like some skulls fucking tumble out, and you walk through this charnel pile and stand in it, and then you close the cage behind you, and you wait.
I'll wait about 30 seconds.
Okay. All right.
Nothing happens?
No, nothing happens.
How far off are you guys away from the cage?
Just
I'm
standing around.
gonna
Right
walk
there.
up and look around if I see like summoning symbols on the ground or anything that would mark that this is like a ritual site or
Make an Arcana check. While you're doing that, what are you two doing?
Maybe I'm not understanding what I'm looking at.
Okay, sure.
Can you just synopsis it again?
Yeah,
Giant-
let me draw you a shitty Adam Koebel map.
Yeah, I love those. Those are my favorite things.
It's a
Okay.
giant 30 by 30 cage that is stained with the skulls.
I don't
and
even have
soot.
a
Right,
mouse.
is it
I don't even have a
circular
mouse
or
to draw.
cubical?
I don't even have a mouse to
You
draw.
could use
this.
the
you don't?
It's
sketch pad.
It's gonna look so bad. Okay, so here's the edge of the mountain.
It's over there.
Yeah, it's down here. It's this pink line there.
I can't drag it.
No, it's cool. It'll still fall on the cam. I'll make the lines real big.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, move it over to the center a little bit more.
there's I just didn't want it overlapping with the cord thing, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay, so that's like the mountain there, right? And then there's an entrance to the mountain here, right? The dwarven archway.
Right.
And then out front of it there is, let's see, what's a good? I'll use red because that's a good color. Out front there's this cube, this 30-foot like a metal cube. And that's it. So it's just sitting out front and it's covered in fire and shit. It's got ash and it's all burnt.
Okay, so the gate itself
Yeah.
is separate from this.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
sitting
in-
out front in like a plaza that used to be used at some point as like a amphitheater.
This
or
is like the archway, and this is in front
yeah,
of, like,
so
the big
so
gate.
yeah, you would come out of the mountain through that old dwarven gate.
Okay.
And then they would hold audience or something out here. Yeah.
And so the
what did
ki-
you? We got Ramus is gonna roll Arcana.
I'm gonna roll.
Okay.
To see the
And you're giving yourself
symbology.
guidance.
I'm gonna use guidance. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to see the significance of this thing.
5 plus 4
9.
plus 9.
Okay, right? Because Ramus isn't very good at religion.
Yeah.
No, to Arcana.
Arcana.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This doesn't look to be the site of like a summoning or a conjuring or anything. It looks like pretty mundane, and you don't have to make a religion check to. You walk around, and you look at it, and like it looks like a sacrifice. Okay, like you put people you want to sacrifice in there, and then you light them on fire, probably with magic, because there's no pile of stuff. There's just burnt bodies.
Okay, so what do you say when that happens? After you like investigate.
It's a sacrificial chamber. Get out of there. To you.
I just kind of like look straight down the gate and say, Ramus, you might want to move back. Away. Far.
Okay. I'm gonna back up.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna draw Bahath
Yeah.
and like stab it into the ground and just shout like at the top of my lungs like do we know the actual name of the Embers of Imix to be the Embers of Imix? Like that's their true name? That's how they...
Yeah. I think you know that well enough.
Okay. Yeah, then I stab Bahath in the ground, shout and say, Embers of Imix, I summon thee! Put me to the test of flame. and I like unveil like a necklace.
Okay. All right.
Go for
Yeah. So she shouts as it echoes off of the walls of the little like canyon. Are you doing anything while you wait, or is everybody just waiting and watching the door?
I want to be like kind of to the west or east of the cage.
Okay.
And just an eye on the door. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would, when he tells him to back away, I would back away from it. Probably with
Okay.
him. With him or Ramus.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just be near Berg, just wherever he's standing.
I was just going to do some perception, but this is getting lit
Yeah.
pretty quick here.
So you notice the bars of the cage begin to glow very slowly. Just they start to like steam in the mountain air and start to glow. And at the same time, you can hear somewhere in the mountain, muffled by the cliff face, you hear the throbbing sound of like drums start up.
Fool of Goliath.
I think I like twist the sword so that the eye is facing towards the open where I'm hearing the noise come from,
Okay.
so they can see fully that there's a fire dragon worm in the sword,
Okay.
or the eye of one, the soul
Right.
of one.
And the idea here is that they'll see it, and this is like, it's bad, right, for them, because like the worm, like killing a dragon, especially a dragon sacred to Imix, is like an affront. Like you've bested one of their.
The goal here
champions
is
or
to be
whatever.
put to the test of fire.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I want
Yeah.
them to light me up.
Yes, yeah. So this is absolutely the soundtrack becomes the like Conan the Destroyer, like Basil Polydorus, like boom, 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 boom. Yeah, right.
yeah.
And the doors of the place begin to swing open, and a procession of maybe like 20 people emerge. So 2 lines of 10 of crimson-robed like acolytes. They have hoods on, and they all carry iron torches in their hands. And the torches glow red, though their bare skin is able to like hold them. And this procession of them like walk out, and they come out and they form a circle of torches around the cage. And of course, a bunch of like clouds have formed in the sky, so it's like kind of dark now. There's a wind blowing through, so that the torches are flickering. The cage is beginning to heat up, and they're all chanting. And they're chanting. And does anybody speak either primordial or whatever the fire tongue is?
Giant and common. That's it.
I speak some stuff. Let me see what we got here.
speak a little primordial.
Well, I don't
I
know.
think
I think it's
Yoji
called
was the
Pyron?
primordial.
I think I speak Celestial. That's what it was.
Yeah, Raja and Celestial.
Okay. All right. So they're chanting in a language that sounds like crackling flame. So they're like whispering, and their like high priest emerges after they formed a circle around you. They're ignoring the 3 of you. It's like you're not even there. And from it, this priest, this red-robed priest, emerges. Now he has his hood up, so he's sort of indistinguishable from the rest, except that his robes, his robes are much more ornate. So he has like a scarf or a shawl of like gold fabric, and on it these sort of like patterns of fire. And he is carrying with him in a sheath a sword. It's like a long sword. He's holding it in his chest, and he walks forward, and he stops before the cage, and he reaches up. He puts the sword down, just places it on the ground. He reaches up, and he pulls his hood back, and he's a fire genasi. He's probably in his like 60s. He's got a big red beard, but like red, not like ginger. And he has hair that seems to like be moving like a candle flame. His skin is a dusky, like red-black. And his eyes are the orange of fire, and he looks up and he sees the sword in your hand, the eye, and I want you to make a roll, like a performance roll, or like what do you want? You want them to like burn you up or try?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I don't think it's that hard. Like I think they'd want to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they come out and they see you, and he gives like a sort of a quizzical smile, like it shouldn't be this fucking easy. And he says, he holds his hands up, and his followers all like go quiet, and the flames like gutter and like burn down, and he says, embers, and they all like just like clap a hand to their chest, and he says, the criminal has found their way home, born here by guilt, no doubt. Witness his crime. And he points, and they all like again like shout, and he points, and the camera like focuses on the head of your weapon, the eye, and he strides up to the cage, and he says, "Is that it, Worm Slayer? That you sought us out to pay for your crimes? You abomination?
I just pictured that's what you said to him.
Like
It's a complicated question.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Multi-layered.
Hey, look, call me, look, call me.
No, I'm still holding the sword like this, and you just see me I'm just eyeing all the embers that are kind of circled around me as much as I can without spinning around. And I just say, put me to the test, and you will revere me afterwards.
And he laughs. And he says, "Revere you. You are a fool. You have come here to die."
I don't say anything.
And he turns and he says, "Embers." And they again like, clap their gauntlets to their chest. He says, "This fool has come before us to taste of Imix's flame." And he looks, and maybe like seems like he's noticing the three of you for the first time. And he says, "Outsiders, we will permit you to bear witness. Watch as your friend burns." And he puts his hands up, and he starts to pray. And again, you don't understand his prayer, but thunder like rolls across the sky, and the clouds start to turn, and like it looks like an eye is like forming, not a physical eye, but like there's an opening in the clouds forming above Maharib, and they're all chanting and like praying with him.
And I look to Maharib, and I know he probably won't even look at me or acknowledge me, but I just say to him, "Remember, inner strength, the poison, overcome, comes from within. You can do this. I believe."
I don't answer back. But
Yeah, he's just staring at this priest.
Yeah,
and the priest is chanting.
I'm
And
eye fucking him right now. He's getting
Right,
eye
like-
fucked real hard.
and as the priests are, as the gathered acolytes are chanting, the words as they leave their mouth take physical form in the shape of like flickering ash and fire. So there's like bits of hot ash drifting from them to him, and he's got this kind of halo of fire like flickering around him, little bits of burnt pieces, and the air in the area is doing that thing where it starts to like spin when there's like heat. Little tornadoes are like forming and like wicking away from him. There's another peal of thunder, and we see descending from above a column of fire. Like it's huge. It's like 30 feet across. Just this big, like massive, like tornado of fire starts to like slowly crawl down from above, and then we get a big long shot far away. The whole place, everyone, like you can all feel it. Like you start to sweat immediately, and the valley is like heating up drastically. And this fire tendril curls its way down towards Maharib, and I suppose consumes the cage. Like if nobody does anything, it burns down and hits the ground, sort of splashes out to the side, and you lose sight of him. He disappears under this like belching fire. Do you have anything that will protect you besides Rammus's spell? Talk to me about that.
You gave me a charm crafted by my people that will prevent me from being burned by any flame, but only once.
That's right. That's right.
So I don't take damage.
That's right. So the column of fire gutters down, just like it's horrific. The sound of it is just like it's roaring. You can't even see the cage. You keep thinking about like the bones. I mean, Ramus, you've burned a man or two to death in your time.
As you do.
I've seen him do it.
Yeah, right. You're familiar with the fire, and so like, what are you feeling in this moment? Like, I mean, it's watching Maharib, you assume, become immolated and die, but also like. This is the power of the Fire Lord, right? This is Imix's priesthood calling down pure flame from heaven and consuming their enemies. But you're all numb and shit. So what does this feel like for Ramus?
I think I'm just standing there and just all of the power that these people have.
Yeah.
And just salivating for it. And like I'm removing my mask so the scar can be expose the flame.
Yeah. And it's like ache. It's a dull ache, right?
Yeah.
And like the skin, when your like burn is exposed to heat, it like feels like it's constricting. So it feels like someone is like squeezing your face. Like you can feel like the touch almost again. That's super cool. Yeah. So we get that shot as Maharib is consumed by the column of fire. We get that reaction shot. What are the two of you doing when this is happening? What do we see when we pan over to you?
I'm just trying to watch to see if he's going to make it out alive. Like I'm transfixed.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of awe-inspiring or not awesome. Like the power that they have wielded upon this, and I'm guessing like the cage is like starting to glow like
You can't even
bright red.
see it. Like this like tree trunk of fire. It's a 30-foot across tornado of flame.
Okay.
This is some like severe Burning Man shit. You cannot see him. Like it is a whirling wall of fire.
Okay.
Yeah. Berg? What do
I
we
think
see?
Berg's staying relatively calm and like just focused, staring. Like he saw the flame come down, and now he's just like his. If you were to see like a camera shot, you just see his eyes fixated on the fire, and you see the fire reflecting in his eyes.
I guess I'll
Because he's not too concerned.
You trust that Maharib's he's got this shit handled?
He went in there with Berg knows something's up. Like
I'll take a gander at the leader and the cultists and that kind of stuff to see if like is the leader doing it himself or are they all joining in to call the fire down?
Yeah. So they're caught up, and this is a great last shot. So they're caught up in this like fervor, right? They're like praying and chanting. This is the witnessing of a miracle. It is the righting of a wrong, right? This abomination came back, basically with like a head of one of their like most sacred creatures, and it's like fuck you, come at me, bro, light me on fire, like I dare you. And so they're excited about this, and then we see that, and I think we pan out, and as we do, the last thing that we see is in the column of flame, a shape writhes its way down from above. We can make out like sort of serpentine shape with like a tail and maybe like the edge of a wing as this like shape of fire kind of crawls down the inside of this tunnel of flame, and then we fade to break.
Fucking sick. Yeah, dude. Oh my god, that's awesome.
So we're gonna take a break here. This is gonna be our lunch break. We're gonna take a 30-minute lunch break. Thank you, Scoots, and then we'll be back with the next two parts of this, the 100th episode of RollPlay Court of Swords. Stick around. We'll see you in just a little bit.